Good morning, Leiden, and welcome back to another Eagle Update. I'm David.
And I'm Care, and for today's Eagle Update, we will be covering the Civic Simulation, Fright Night at West Leiden, Modern Language Festival, and Leiden students' responses to the tragedy in Pittsburgh.
Today is November 2nd, and your Eagle Update starts in 5.
On October 27th, 11 people were gunned down in a synagogue in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This was not only an act of murder, but a hate crime. A crime where the perpetrator targets victims by their social group or their race.
I think just by definition, a hate crime is where there is, in addition to the crime itself, there is an additional intent to send a message to other people. And unfortunately, that message is largely something maybe classifying a larger category of people and trying to send a message not just to the individual the crime was perpetrated against, but to that larger group.
There's so many aspects to it, but I think one of the biggest ones has to do with a lack of understanding. I think not seeking to try to understand or see the other side, somebody else's perspective, and when we're just so focused on thinking that my way is the right way, we kind of miss that. And so we miss the opportunity to create unity and understanding when we're so focused that only my way is the correct way.
So America, probably like most places in the world, I think, that are diverse like we are. Unfortunately, discrimination is something that doesn't just last in a particular action or a particular time period. Those things, as they become systemic, they become really emboldened by all of the structures around them. So the fact that, even though we haven't had slavery literally for centuries, that system has become part of the fabric of our history for a long time. And that's just one example, right? And you could go through other examples of that. So unfortunately, unless we acknowledge that those things are still part of systems in our society and actually try to change the systems that they've become kind of built into, then those things are still going to exist. And then it perpetuates even in informal ways that discrimination exists as well.
I think the reason why we still have discrimination in America to this day is because trying to develop that connection, that unity, that understanding, it takes work. It requires us to kind of really have an opportunity to sit down, learn, understand, and realize that maybe we are not the center of attention, that we're not the center of the world, but can we learn to understand somebody else's perspective and then create some type of cohesion from that?
Fortunately for us here at school, I do not recall things that would be classified as crimes with that additional layer of hate on top of it. Now, most certainly, we have had examples of discrimination that have been very unfortunate. I don't think that's become an epidemic in our school. I don't think it's on a large scale. But certainly, we've had incidents. Just a simple example is when someone draws a swastika, for instance, which has a history behind it, that's a message filled with hate, just drawing that symbol or writing that symbol. Every school probably has dealt with that, or every principal has dealt with that in their career. Thankfully, what you try to do is you try to interrupt it early and try to make everyone know that that's not something that's going to be accepted, and you don't want to see it associated with other things, other behaviors, other actions. So in my experience, we've been able to stop those things very quickly and make it very clear that those messages aren't allowed here.
I think hate is something that we learn to do, to discriminate, to go against someone. I think that on the bottom of all of this, if we are able to learn to maybe take a step back and see the potential of being able to have a conversation with someone that we disagree with or they disagree with us, able to actually have a conversation about the things that are going on. But it does require that opportunity to stepping out of your comfort zone and recognizing and realizing that we could be wrong, but you know what? Let's try to sit down and figure out where all this is coming from. Understand kind of my perspective so I can understand yours.
With this topic in mind, consider this. What actions would you take to keep events like what happened in Pittsburgh or other hate crimes from ever happening in the future? This is Max, sending it back to the studio.
Field reporters set out to talk to Leiden students and faculty about the civic simulation and to reach out to future students about the new curricular system.
How are you feeling heading into next Tuesday? I feel pretty confident with my bill and what choices, and I'm a committee chair, so I'm going to have a lot of fun doing all that stuff. So
Why is the issue behind your bill important to you?
as dark as it is, my bill is the death penalty, and I find it really important to me and my group personally because how we chose to do it is based on the rules of what the government is using now, we just modified it a little bit more so it's more regulated.
All right, and how does this course affect your understanding of the government?
It puts me in a different perspective of how the federal government and the U.S. government works. So I get a higher understanding of what the government is actually doing on a day-to-day basis.
Older people think that they just know everything about politics, and younger people are getting out there.
Why is the issue behind your bill important to you?
Because there's a lot of people in prison for my topic, and we just want to make prisons less crowded.
Okay, and how does this course affect your understanding of the government?
It just makes me feel like once I'm able to vote, I'm going to use it, and I'm going to make better change for everybody.
All right, thank you.
West Leiden introduced Fright Night last Friday, a spooky way to hang out with your friends.
On Friday, October 26th, the West Leiden's auditorium was filled with zombies, real-life dolls, vampires, werewolves, and more. This Fright Night and Haunted House was successful thanks to Theater Club and Snowball Club. If you weren't there to hear the screams, here is some footage.
How long did it take to set up the haunted house?
Over the course of 2 days.
What kinds of materials did you use for the setup?
For the main part of the haunted house, we mostly use platforms and flags that are, made out of wood, and some of them were even made out of metal. And for the little interior designs, it's just stuff that we were able to find from past shows.
Awesome. Were there any challenges you or your team faced?
Some of the challenges were mostly just the lack of people who were here, but we still had a good turnout and we were able to get this done.
And are you proud of the outcome?
Oh, definitely. I just went in there and it's spooky. And so, yeah, it's really great. I love it.
It was really awesome, but at the end, the people like to jump out at you and start yelling at you, so that was one of my favorite parts.
I like how it was like really dark in the back, and then by the curtains, they would like leap out at you. And it generally scared me, low-key. But, it's all cool though. It's really nice.
It was the zombies because it pops out of nowhere, scares the crap out of me, and I just want to go and leave.
So I'm a witch, and witches are one of my favorite Halloween things.
Zombie, because blood and gore.
I'm Sally, and I love The Nightmare Before Christmas.
I'm the doctor from the original Halloween.
I'm Jack from The Nightmare Before Christmas. They said I'll be a good part for it because I'm tall. That's about it.
Are you leaving? Don't leave!
Wasn't that scary? Signing off, Morgan Carley.
The annual Modern Language Festival is a hit this year once again with salsa, crepes, cannolis, and endless fun.
What is the Modern Language Festival? The Modern Language Festival is a day where all of the modern language classes come together, and we kind of just put together different activities from different Spanish-speaking countries. We have one for specifically French and one for Italian, and the students just get to explore and look at different cultures and try mainly different foods and dancing, of course.
The Modern Language Festival included multiple activities like ethnic dancing, loteria, watching movies, and learning how to make salsa, cannolis, arepas, and crepes. This festival is one that many modern language students look forward to. All the modern language classes get to join together to celebrate the cultures they are studying. The festival runs all day, but it's only available for certain students.
Any student that's taking a modern language class is welcome to the festival. We actually have students volunteering as well. These are my awesome volunteers for Mexican fruit.
We caught up with fellow students to see what their favorite part about the festival is.
The food. The food. The food. The salsa. The food.
Ici c'est la France. Ici on parle français. Yeah!
Well, that's all the time we have for today, but we saved room for cookies. The Flying Eagle, please.
And the winner is Mr. Gagliardi's anatomy class in room 196. Enjoy the cookies. I'm Care.
And I'm David.
And we're
signing off.